So now I have all my signatures. I have 5 signatures, I decided, together. You can do this, usually I do the cover first and then I do the signatures. It works out better that way because the cover needs to dry. But, oh well, I got ahead of myself. So, yeah, all my signatures are organized, so I'm just going to set those aside while I cover the cardboard pieces. So I decided that I'm going to use this craft paper for my covers, and then I'll probably use some sort of printed paper for the spine. So I'm going to go ahead and get out my Fabri-Tac. And I'm going to Fabri-Tac down all this guy, so go around the edges, and then I go all over just to get it nice and covered. And then I'm going to take, usually I like to orient it like this. And I'm going to line it up nice and straight. And I'm just going to press, press, press down. And then this is about how much room I need all around. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that as straight as I can, but if it's not perfectly straight, it's not a big deal because it will be covered up. Then I'll go ahead and do the exact same thing to this piece of card. Stuff is stinky. And I should have probably done it so that they're both on the same sort of side as the other, instead of this one being on this side and this one being on the glossy side, but whatever. You know, you live and you learn. So go ahead and press that down. And the good thing about Fabri-Tac is it sticks like practically right away. So I can go ahead and cut out my cover. You can use your paper slicer for this and make it like a perfect line, but it really doesn't matter. So then I'm going to go ahead and, what's this called? Trim my corners up. It's called something, miter my corners. So that just means that we're going to get close to the edge of that, but not all the way to the edge. And then I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to run it along the edge of my cardboard, so that I can score it. And I'll go ahead and start folding those edges over just to get them going. And then this is where the score tape comes in. You can absolutely use Fabri-Tac for this, but I find score tape just easier. So go ahead and line up my score tape, and then I'll, at the edge, I'll cut it off. If you don't have score tape, by all means use whatever glue you have. Score tape is not necessary, it's just helpful. And it's a really strong adhesive, so if you have it, I would use it. And we're going to go ahead and do one of these guys. Burnish all that score tape down. I'm going to do the short sides first. So it doesn't look so straight. Okay. And go ahead and stick it down. So score tape makes this whole process. Oops. super easy. And then you're just going to push in the corners so that they get covered properly. There's a huge bug in here. And so you can see it just makes those corners a little bit nicer when you cut the edges off. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to this side as well. Okay. So now we're getting ready to do the spine. It's quite similar to the way that we did these two. I'm just going to go ahead and glue it down. Nice and good. Okay. I'm just going to try to center it as best I can. I'm pretty good at eyeballing it. And then I'll just take to make sure it's nice and straight, up and down, I will use my ruler just to make sure I don't have it like crooked. Have it slightly skewed. That's all right. All right. So now that we have that done, what you do is I decided that's my front cover. Too much stuff on my desk. That's my back cover. And I want to leave a little bit of space, probably like an 1/8 of an inch. No, that's bigger than 1/8 of an inch. I like space, all right? So I'll give it probably like 3/8 of an inch. Or 1/4 of an inch. You know, like that. So basically what I want to do is I want to use score tape here because you don't want to get glue in this space, because if you get glue in that space, it can be just like not good. They tell you not to do that, so I try not to do that. So what I will do is I'll go ahead and use score tape all along the edges here. So I just avoid using liquid glue there for that reason. Now I am using 1/2 inch. If you only have 1/4 of an inch, that's fine. Use a 1/4 of an inch. You can just use 2 lines of it. Or you can use glue, but just make sure you're only getting it on the very, very outside. And then on the outer edge, on the raw side, you're going to add score tape as well. And I try to do this as close to the edge as I possibly can. But on this side as well. So we're just score taping up all of this to make sure it's nice and secure. But like I said, if you only have PVA glue, if you only have, you know, regular tape, like whatever you have, like it'll be fine, but I have this. So that's what I'm using. And I'm just gonna burnish it down. Okay, now pulling out my adhesive drawer, which I think I'm done with that for now, which you're on top of the drawers, so I'm gonna use the glue stick trick. Let me trim off this little bit of excess here, and that's just when you remove the score tape, to keep it nice and movable, I am going to put some glue stick on it to make sure that I'm still able to kind of move things around as I need to. So I'm just gonna run my glue stick along the edge here, and I do one side at a time. So is this my back piece? It is. And then I'm gonna do it on this side. Then I'm gonna go ahead and place that down, making sure it's as even as it possibly can be. And then after that, I'll press. So now that I have that down, I'll go ahead and glue stick up this one and do the same thing. And then just press, press, press. And then I'll go ahead and go along here with my bone folder, just kind of score it up a little bit so that when we wrap it around, it'll work out nicely. Then you can go ahead and take your bone folder and rub into this little gap. And rub, rub, rub. And close it up. And there you go. And we're going to cover this with a bunch of papers. So don't you be concerned about that stark white thing, you know, that piece in the middle, because it will be covered up. So I think I might use, because this is kind of, see, I like this idea and I wish it was big enough. Because I don't want to get glue on that centerpiece though. Because that would be cool, right? I don't think I can do it though. I gotta line it with scrapbook paper. So I'm gonna take another piece of that white. It's not quite long enough, so I'll have to do 2 pieces. So let's measure. Or I'll do 3 pieces. I'll do one this side, one for the spine, possibly. Let's see. So I think I want to do 7 5/8 by 5. 7 5/8 by 5. So let's do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut these pieces and I'll be right back. So I have my pieces cut out for my spine, for the 2 inner linings. So I'm gonna do the inner linings first, and then these aren't going to cover the spine, so I can go ahead and use glue for these, as long as I'm careful. Which, it's a good thing I use this or chose this for my back cover, because it shouldn't show through because this is a cardstock, but you never know. I think a gigantic bug is coming to its death in my light, so that's cool. So let's, oh my god, do you hear that? It's like, it's death rattle. Okay, so place that down, and then rubby, 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 to make sure it's nice and good down there. And then the other one. go ahead and place down. Seems like, whatever. Let's say it seems like this side is a little bit more like, is there no glue in this corner? What was I doing? Not paying attention, clearly. Okay, and then for this last one, for the same reason as before, we are gonna put score tape on here instead of glue, because I don't want to get any glue in that spine area. So I'm just going to line either side of that hole, or that gap, that's the word I'm looking for, with tape. I need to trim off the excess here. And then, because I like to live dangerously and I don't like cutting a million pieces of score tape, you could just like score tape, score tape, score tape, but instead, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put some glue right there, and then I'm going to put some glue along the edges of this guy. Right up into the corners. And then I'm going to make sure my squirt tape is pushed down. And peel it up. Come on. Oops. Shit. See, this is why you need to pay more attention to what you're doing. Okay. And then just gonna rub that, and then again with the bone folder in the little creasy part, you can fold it up. And then just make sure you're good and down. So then that is your cover with glue all over it now, all wrapped up and ready to bind. All right, so it is the next morning, and I have bound my book. So my book is all together with all of my signatures, as you can see here. You can go ahead and bind your book in whatever manner you like best. I'll go ahead and link some videos below that I found useful and how I kind of developed this method of binding. But like I said, I'm still pretty new to this whole situation, so I can make a video solely on binding if you'd like it, but it would just be way too long of a video for me to show you all the ins and outs of binding as well. So I am going to go ahead and end the video here, and then in the next video I'm going to show you how we're going to decorate and add inserts into this journal. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.